used to, and becomes almost like, I would like to say, of something that they become accustomed to. And if they're not performing and training and winning, then it is a shock, I believe, to the emotional, mental state of being, because then it's like, what do I do now? And that's the number one thing that where I consult with a lot of athletes on a side is about purpose and identity. And they really struggle when they're not in the pool or on the track or on the field or hitting a ball. What are your thoughts about systems that need to be in place, and how can we as a public or as professionals come together to emphasize to these baseball leagues and football leagues and sports across from UFC to everything else that these people are not just people and a product, that they are human beings and they need more of a support system than just training and a coach?
Yeah, I mean, you brought up so many good points there. And, I think at the professional level, we're doing much better with having that support system, a sports psychologist, a clinical sports psychologist. They can also treat the mental health. That's much more mainstream now for most professional teams, and certainly all the Olympic teams. I've got friends in the field who are sports psychologists for some of the Olympic teams. So I think we're doing a much better job at that level. The problem is when you go down from that level, or it's simply that the support is not there. Even at where I'm a professor, Cal State Northridge, we have one person who does 16 hours a week for all of the athletes, and there are hundreds of athletes. That's very little time. That really, I mean, we need more than one person doing, part-time work with the athletes. And if you go down to youth sport or high school sport, it's almost non-existent because there's just not funding for it in the schools to have that. So some of my graduate students I have out in the high schools doing mental training and work, and it is so beneficial for these high school athletes to have somebody that they can go to. And it's great for my graduate students who need to get their hours for certification, but it also, they're basically donating their time, and it's been really interesting to see how much they've helped these high school athletes need that support so much. So I think we have a long way to go in terms of mental training being just as important as having a strength and conditioning coach, just as important as having a coach. That's an essential part of an athletic department of anything. However, I think in individual sports, we still, Naomi Osaka, probably she's the highest paid female athlete in the world. She struggled with mental health issues for quite a while, finally talked about it in the last couple of years. But I remember about a year ago, she said, well, I'm finally working with a therapist. And I'm like, you're a multimillionaire, you're very famous, and you're just now turning to someone? Because I think there's still such that stigma of, I don't want to show that I'm weak. I need to be tough. There's such an emphasis on winning that there's still that I'm weak if I go to someone. I'm weak if I admit that. And we simply need to change that attitude. And I think it's slowly happening, but part of it's also just, we need more people becoming sports psychologists. I was just looking on our website, the Association for Applied Sports Psych, and like in California, there's only 72 certified consultants right now. That's nothing when you think about the population size we have in California, the major metro areas, San Diego, LA, the Bay Area, and we only have 72 certified sports psych consultants. That's not enough. So I think, a lot of work is still to be done there. And there's a lot of opportunities for anyone, wanting to go into this field as well.